Welcome everyone to SBS version 1.1. I know a number of you have been waiting on this update for a little while now. I've taken quite a long time to make this one because there were quite a lot of bugs to work out and features that I wanted to get working perfectly before I released it for you guys. But I can now confirm that the Bloodmoon is working exactly as I would expect it to, exactly as I want it to, and I am really pleased with the final product. So today in SBS version 1.1 we are adding first of all the module to the pack which allows for custom lunar events. There are going to be more in the future. If you're in the Discord group or if you've messaged me on YouTube or Reddit recently, then you'll probably know about the fact that I have a few others planned as well in addition to the Bloodmoon. But for now, for today, the only one that is in the pack for version 1.1 is the Bloodmoon, and we're going to get straight into it right now. I've just installed the data pack on my world folder. I'm going to reload the world now and we'll see what happens. It's going to say loaded Better Sleeping version 1.1 by Skaliber. Now, for those of you who don't know and are just watching Better Sleeping for the first time, what this mod actually aims to do is change the way that the time works in Minecraft. A usual day-night cycle, as you guys know, is anywhere from, 10 minutes really, isn't it? It's just it's the only option we really have. 10 minutes for the entire day, 10 minutes for the entire night, and that is your day-night cycle. It's tiny. These guys are mental. What the hell's wrong with them? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, an entire day-night cycle will be only 10 minutes. It's kind of naff. I've never liked that. I've never really approved of the really short day cycle. So I've simply made it so that you can extend it to any value that you want. The default value in this pack is 9, which means that the day-night cycle is expanded by 9 times. So the usual day that would take 10 minutes instead takes 90 minutes, and a full day-night cycle takes 3 hours. Now it makes the game a lot more interesting in that you have a longer night where you can battle mobs for longer if you so choose, or you can stay around in the overworld without having to run to a bed every 10 minutes in that kind of frustrating manner. It just makes the game a lot more enjoyable to play, in my opinion, and it's a much needed update to the game that Mojang will probably just add at some point in the future. Anyway, just like a game rule day duration or something like that. But for the time being, obviously, I've made this into a little data pack so you guys can expand your day-night cycle by a specified value, simply by going scoreboard, players, set, time warp, Skal settings, and then a value. So by default it's 9, which is 90 minutes, but you can set it to anything you want. If you set it to 1, it'll be the default vanilla time, or you can set it to 72, which will be 24 hours for the entire day-night cycle. So, real life, basically. So yeah, there are a lot of options with this data pack, but today, of course, we're going to be going over the Bloodmoon specifically. So what I'm going to do here is go function, Skaliber, Better Sleeping, and then trigger. And you'll see we have this new function called Skaliber, Better Sleeping, Trigger, Bloodmoon. Now, the Bloodmoon does rely on quite a number of events happening to actually be triggered properly. So if you are looking to see a Bloodmoon in like a creative world or anything like that, then I recommend that you use this command right here. Now, I'm going to trigger the Bloodmoon just now, and we're going to see that the world goes very dark and the Bloodmoon will start to rise. Okay, so a number of things that you may have noticed right there. First of all, I have completely shamelessly stolen the Bloodmoon sound effect from Breath of the Wild. I don't really like that personally. I would much rather have my own original sound effect, but quite frankly, I have no idea how to make sounds. I already love the way that the Breath of the Wild sound works. I think it's so creepy and spooky and fits the atmosphere so well. And I just simply love that one, so I'm just using that one for now, unfortunately. Now the reason why I've set up shop here in Little Village is because I'm going to be in creative mode for most of this video, and it's a kind of a good opportunity to show how the mobs actually work and how strong they are by having them pit off against the villagers. So I can already see one of our mobs right there. You can see we have the creeper right there. This is a Bloodmoon mob. They are all pretty terrifying. They all have a very similar look and follow a similar design style, be it the creeper, the zombie, the skeleton. There are quite a number of mobs that are affected by this. I can actually see another one over there, I think, jumping about. There's a zombie, there you go. So yeah, there was also actually Skaliber's mob converter is kind of installed into SBS now by default. So obviously you won't have, they're very fast by the way, they're really fast. You won't have the usual features of SBS when you have this installed, like, bears spawning in tigers and randomly colored sheep and stuff. But you will have randomly spawned mobs that spawn with Bloodmoon mobs. Now, because I just created this world fresh, we're not actually getting that many mob spawns, so I'm going to just kind of hurry it up a little bit myself so we can get things going. But yeah, basically all you really need to know is that zombies are terrifyingly scary now. Skeletons are also really fast and can occasionally spawn with swords instead of bows. They can also spawn with wither skeletons that again can have bows or swords. Creepers are now much faster and have a much shorter fuse time, so if they get right up to you, they're not going to take a delay when they explode. They're going to explode almost instantly in a third of the time that they usually would. Spiders again are much faster, much stronger, and again there's loads of other features as well, but I really do recommend just simply playing the Bloodmoon to actually get a feel for how powerful it is. So yeah, and also yeah, there's a skeleton as well. You can see the different texture for the skeleton. He's sort of like rusty with his red eyes. Every single Bloodmoon mob has glowing red eyes using emissive textures with Optifine, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. They're really fast, as you can see. They're very fast. But yeah, it's honestly like a really cool pack, I think. I'm really pleased with the outcome of like how this has all turned out. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. We can see a zombie running into the village here actually as well. He's going to be ridiculously fast. Every single zombie that spawns in a Bloodmoon can break doors. Oh, hello. He just killed him, never mind. Yeah, every single zombie that spawns in a Bloodmoon can break doors, and every single one has a 10% chance of spawning reinforcements. So the main terror during a Bloodmoon is the zombies. You will actually barely ever encounter skeletons and creepers just because of how much you're fighting zombies during this. The baby zombies are nightmarish. They're so fast. They're actually so fast that they sort of like speed up to you and miss the shot. I considered changing it so that the baby zombies were the same speed as adult zombies during a Bloodmoon, but I think it's so it follows the same gimmick of the baby zombies being super fast. I don't know, I really like it, so we're keeping it the same for now at least anyway. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go see if I can trigger some events here, and I'll try and get some more interesting stuff for you on camera, so bear with me. So I think the first thing that's worth talking about during a Bloodmoon is actually what happens if you try and sleep. Now this will only work properly if I'm in survival mode, so I'm going to quickly just switch over to that. So we'll do game mode, survival mode. So usually if you have SBS installed, what the mod pack will do is it will count the number of players in the world and then compare that to the number of players sleeping, and then if the number of players sleeping matches the number of players online, then it will reset this day back to, well, specifically 23,640, so you can watch a pretty sunrise. But in this, we get a slightly different effect. I'm going to stop talking here and let you guys just see how this works. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Basically, if you ever try and get into a bed during a Bloodmoon, you will not be allowed to sleep. The demonic whispering of all the infected mobs around you just floods your head, and eventually you just take 3 hearts of damage and just get kicked out of the bed before you can even start sleeping. So it is absolutely impossible to skip the night during a Bloodmoon. Because obviously if you could skip the night, you could just avoid all the terror, but I actually want to encourage you to try and fight the mobs because you can get some nice rewards if you get a high number of kills. You can see here on the side of my screen I have kill count Bloodmoon Skaliber. For every kill that you get, you will actually get a bit of XP. Now the way it works by default is that, you know, every mob that you kill, be it skeleton, zombie, creeper, spider, whatever, as long as they are a Bloodmoon mob, they will kind of trigger your kill count by 1. And then at the end of the Bloodmoon, if you have survived for long enough, then you will actually get an XP reward as well as a bonus for every 100 mobs that you've killed. Now, the way that this works currently is that if you die, you will actually have your kill count divided by 3, but that actually is a setting that you can adjust, and I'm going to be going over all the settings later on in this video as well. Another thing that you may have noticed is that there are quite a lot of particle effects in this mod. One of the things that I actually didn't show you, but will show you later on in the video, is the transition that gets played when the mobs get converted at the start of the Bloodmoon. They get a bunch of lava particle effects all spawning and flying all over the place at their location, and there's also quite a nice effect when they get transformed back into regular mobs at the end of the Bloodmoon as well. Also, every time, you know, there is a Bloodmoon active, there will be all these red and black particles spawning around the player. They're very subtle, but you can just about see them. Yeah, it's easier to see them there if I'm in the light, but you can see all the black smoke particles spawning around me, and this is kind of to give the impression that the atmosphere is just really hot, and kind of like the ground is just on fire as well, just to give that little bit of extra kind of feel and vibe when you are playing during a Bloodmoon. Now, I understand for a lot of people, spawning this many particles all the time, whether it be at a mob's location or nearby the player, or Nice, good job, dude. Yeah, whether it be spawning effects at the player's location or whatever, it can actually be quite difficult for some people's computers to run. Now, I understand that not everyone else is going to be using an amazing graphics card, or also we saw something else there. I'll go over that one in a second. But yeah, obviously not everyone's going to be using a god tier computer, so I have made an option for performance mode. If we do function Skaliber better sleeping and then settings, we can see all the settings that we have for the mod pack here. There are quite a few that you can go over. Some of them are for the base game, but a lot of them are for Bloodmoon actually. So the first one here that we can see, performance mode, if I was to click that right now, then we'll see no excessive particles, better FPS. Now immediately you can notice that all the black particles that were around me a minute ago have cleared up, and as again the same applies for all the mobs as well. So all the mobs that they make creepy noises as well. But yeah, so all of the mods that what was I talking about? I stumbled. I was surprised by the whispering. Yeah, so all of the mobs that are usually applied with strength instead have the strength applied to them, but with the high particles true. So if we were to go and find a zombie, now he's running around to chase villagers, isn't he? Looks like he might have found someone. They're very, very fast, as you can see. They're very, very fast. And they can all break doors. They should be able to anyway. They can break. Maybe they don't break doors the same way with villagers, but they can all break doors. So yeah. But as you can see here, the zombies are now no longer have the red particle effects around them. They just have kind of this clear thing. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as when the particle effects are on, in my opinion. But again, not everyone might want to have this ridiculous amount of particle effects being run at the location of every single zombie, every single skeleton, every single creeper, because it does start to stack up pretty quickly. And of course, if you're running on a low-tier computer, that's fine. You know, there is an option to make it a little bit easier for you to run. But yeah, now we do have a number of other settings as well, but before I go into those, I just want to quickly show you how the kill count works. If I go effect, give Skaliber strength 1,255,000 and then true, I'm now going to be able to kill these mobs. So first of all, it's worth noting that when the mobs die, they all have a custom sound, which is their base death sound, with this sort of like weird demonic whispering played over it, and it's usually a lot slower to kind of give the vibe that they're all kind of cursed or whatever as well. So here's a spider. You can hear it sort of like the original spider death sound, but with this extra sound over it. Now, it is worth noting that every single texture that you see, whether it be the Bloodmoon textures here with the fancy eyes, fancy skin, or of course the fancy sounds, and of course the Bloodmoon itself, they are all actually Optifine features, basically. Well, apart from the sounds. The sounds are just a vanilla feature, but you still need a resource pack. Ignore the orange thing in the sky, by the way. I'm currently working on some skybox stuff, but it's not working, so ignore that for now. But yeah, if you want to have the red sky, with the red moon in the sky, or you want to have these custom skins for your mobs, or the custom sounds, you will need to have a very light resource pack installed. It's not 100% necessary, but it does require Optifine. So if you're going to be running this on a server, you might want to set this to like the server download file to have the standalone assets be downloadable by all your players, because it just means that the Bloodmoons look a hell of a lot nicer. Again, so yeah, your zombies will look normal if you don't have the resource pack installed, but if you do, they just have this different special look. I think arguably if you don't have the resource pack installed, the red particle effects and the whispering, oh no, the whispering sounds weird. Arguably, the red particle effects are enough to kind of give the impression that they are Bloodmoon mobs. They're evil and cursed and demonic or whatever. But of course, if you want to have the full experience, I would recommend installing the resource pack, because then you'll have these mobs with their evil, bright red glowing eyes. You can see, if they look at me, there you go, you can see they have the bright red glowing eyes that actually stand out against the darkness. And of course, they have the creepy whispering sounds that we can hear there as well. Really, really quite terrifying. Every single mob that spawns during a Bloodmoon has been given the silent tag, which means that they don't play their own base sounds, and instead I've set up a loop scoreboard which plays the custom sounds at their location kind of semi-randomly. So basically all the mobs that we see in the Bloodmoon actually have custom sound effects as well. Now, again, I do apologize that this isn't something that you can just have by simply installing the data pack, but unfortunately you do have to make some sort of compromise if you want to have the best features, so I do recommend installing Optifine and installing the standalone resource pack as well. And there is a wither skeleton. So there you go. Wither skeletons can actually now spawn as a result of the Bloodmoon. There are a number of mobs that will spawn in addition to the usual ones when mobs spawn during a Bloodmoon. So you may have already seen that zombies can occasionally spawn with husks, and that means that you just have a second variant of the zombie that gives you hunger. Skeletons can spawn with strays, that just again means you have a second variant of skeleton that gives you slowness. Skeletons can also spawn with wither skeletons. Spiders will also spawn with cave spiders, and also every time a zombie villager spawns or is converted, there is a very high chance that a bunch of phantoms will appear in the sky above your location. So there are a lot of mobs spawning that will come and attack you during a blood moon, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want it to have it so that it's very difficult. If you ever encounter a blood moon, you have to be prepared. You have to either build a fort that they can't attack or get into, or you have to make some really good armor or weaponry that will help you survive the night. Now, again, there's one thing I do like to follow, and this is kind of advice that's given to me every time by a close friend of mine. But basically, if you're going to add a mechanic like this to a game, don't just have it so that it's a huge inconvenience and it's just annoying for players. You have to have some sort of reward element that will encourage them to actually, like it, basically. So that's what this kill count thing on the side of my screen is. Every time I kill a mob, it's going to go up by 1. So there's a zombie, we've got 5, we've got 6, we've got a creeper, that's going to be 7 now. We've got a spider, it's going to be 8. And this scoreboard will actually set itself to the display slot on the side automatically at the start of the blood moon. And then after the blood moon is completely finished, the display slot on the side will clear once again. And that's just so players can actually keep track of their score. Now, thinking about that now, if you guys wanted to have like a setting that meant whether or not this was displayed to kind of remove the immersion or, keep it more of like a vanilla feel, then I could actually add a setting for that in version 1.2. But for now, every time a blood moon spawns, you will see your kill count blood moon on the side of the screen. And look at that, we have a number of zombies coming in there. Loads and loads of zombies. They're really cool. Every time these guys get punched, they have a 10% chance of spawning reinforcements. So you can very, very quickly be overrun by zombies if you're not careful. If you've already seen my video of me and Tomb playtesting the Blood Moon before I've made a few final changes, you can very easily see how quickly you can be overrun by zombies. Because if you have to hit them any more than like 3 or 4 times, they will spawn hundreds of reinforcements, and it gets pretty scary very quickly. Now, the only other thing that's really worth mentioning are the optional settings that we have, but to showcase those, I'm going to quickly go into my test world and show you guys how those work. Now, before I do get into some of these settings that you can adjust yourself within the game, I actually wanted to show you what the effect looks like when mobs first transform at the start of a blood moon. So to set this up properly, I'm just going to do scoreboard, players, set, time warp, scale settings back to 9, so the default value, because otherwise it's a creative world, so I have it set really high so it doesn't pass passively. But yeah, if we now do function, trigger blood moon, so Skaliber, better sleeping, and then trigger blood moon, we're going to see that the blood moon starts to rise. I really need to remove that sphere from the sky. I was trying to do some testing with a planet shape in the atmosphere, but unfortunately there's an issue with things in the skybox being see-through, as you can see there. So it just looks kind of crap. So yeah, so the sound is going to play once again, and all of our mobs here are going to undergo quite a nice transformation. So I'll let you guys see that one for yourselves. So there you go. So when the blood moon first starts, every single mob that is affected by the blood moon will have all these lava particles spawned at their location to kind of give the impression that they're being like lit on fire, or their souls kind of whatever. I don't really know how to describe it, but I just think it looks really cool. And as you can see there, because the scoreboard was at the correct position, when that skeleton got transformed, he immediately spawned a wither skeleton with himself. And that is how wither skeletons can spawn as a result of the blood moon. If wither skeletons just happen to be in the overworld for whatever reason, then they will also get the effect applied to them, even though they can only be spawned in this datapack by the datapack itself. So yeah, if you have a wither skeleton in the overworld, it will also be affected by the particle transition. And yeah, as you can see there, during the blood moon, every single wither skeleton has a chance of having its sword swapped out for a bow. If you didn't know, wither skeletons actually get flame by default. So if you have a wither skeleton in the overworld with a bow, he will shoot you with flame every single time. So it can be rather annoying, but also a really cool little effect that you can kind of see wither skeletons with bows, and they have flame. It's really cool. If we were to spawn enough skeletons, you can also see a skeleton with a sword as well. Obviously, all the mobs do have strength, and that's kind of initially just to make sure that they have the red particle effects around them. This guy, I changed this before, but I haven't just reloaded the data pack yet. So he should have red around him as well. So don't worry, that will be in the release version. But yeah, if we spawn a bunch of skeletons, you can see we can get one with a sword. I think it's roughly a quarter chance or a third chance, somewhere in between. But yeah, skeletons with swords are actually kind of cool. I really like it personally. If I go into game mode survival, you can see a skeleton running at you with a sword is actually really scary, especially when he's that fast as well. when they're that fast, it's terrifying. But yeah, so skeleton spawning with swords is now sort of like a rare variant of the skeleton that you could get. So if you're one of those people who likes to collect rare variants of mobs, I myself am that kind of person, then you can now occasionally find a wither skeleton with a bow or a skeleton with a sword. And I think that's really cool. Okay, so for the next little setting here, what I'm actually going to do is try and spawn some mobs in this little area that I've set up for us. I'm just going to give myself night vision so we can see a little bit better as well. Effective Skaliber, night vision, 100,000, 0, true. So we'll be able to see a little bit better during the night sky. But yeah, so first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn some zombies in water, and you can see that zombies in water are pathetic. They are absolutely pathetic. There's no good way of saying it. If I do game mode survival, compare how slow they were before. He doesn't stand a chance. Like, he gets in water and he is pathetic. That, he can't chase me down. I could probably blow on him and he would like run away. I think it's dumb. So basically what I've done is I've made it so that you can actually make zombies terrifying in water. You can have a setting which means that zombies will evaporate water around them and make it so that they can run on the surface of one deep high puddles and catch up to you easily, very, very easily. It's a really cool looking effect and I really like it. So if we were to do scoreboard that wasn't scoreboard. Scoreboard objective, set display, sidebar, and then Skal settings. You can see all the different settings that I have for my different data packs. Now this one is called Super Hot Zombies. So if we do function, Skaliber, better sleeping, settings, and then super hot zombies, you get zombies are so hot they evaporate the water around them. So pretty simple explanation there. I'll show you immediately what it does. It's pretty cool. Zombies will evaporate the water around them. Again, there is a reason why this one is off by default. I think it looks really wacky. It looks really, really wacky. But yeah, you have to just remember, the reason why I've made this is because zombies are really, really easy in water. So if you want to make it so that this isn't like a cheesy thing that you can just do to avoid Bloodmoon zombies, then you can have this effect applied, which means that they are easily faster than you in water. Easily faster than you. And they will create all this steam from when the water is evaporated, as you can see there, which will all clearly get slowed. If you do have performance mode on, this steam will not be generated. I can actually demonstrate that right now. So function Skaliber, better sleeping, settings, performance mode. So yeah, if we have performance mode on, you can see that the steam effects aren't generated, because again, we are generating quite a large number of particle effects there when we're making the steam. So yeah, if you don't want to have that, you can just simply turn performance mode on and you will no longer have the particles. So yeah, it's a cool effect. So there you go. Now, zombies will still drown in deep water. In fact, it's even better now, I think. So if I was to do summon zombie, you'll see that he just drops into the water, and then he's creating steam. He's trying to melt the water around him, but he just can't because there's too much water, and instead he just ends up in a cloud of smoke. Just a puff, and he looks really dumb. So yeah, so if zombies spawn underwater for whatever reason, this will apply to husks and zombie villages as well, by the way. If zombies get into any deep water, then they're screwed, and eventually, after trying to evaporate the water around them but failing, they're going to be turned into drowned. So this is actually now a way of transforming your mobs from the Bloodmoon mobs, which are terrifying and strong and powerful and fast, to drowned, which are relatively standard. So yeah. Now will be a good time for you to drown, buddy, if you can. Never when you want it to, is it? Come on, do your thing. There we go. So yeah, when a drown becomes a drowned, he will no longer generate any smoke particle effects because he's not being targeted by the data pack anymore, and he will lose his strength and his speed buff, and he will just be a regular old drowned, just like that. So yeah, if you want to transform your mobs back into an easy version of themselves, then you can very much so do that. You just have to dunk them in water. So yeah, there's a drowned, no longer generating smoke. And these guys will eventually turn as well. Eventually. Actually, do husks turn? I have no idea if husks turn, actually. I'm interested to find out now. I don't think they do. Do they just die? Or do they turn into drowned? I think I'd rather them turn into drowned. I don't know. Well, he's not transforming. He's a regular zombie. Do you think, buddy? Oh, yeah, they're both shaking. I think that means they're both going to die, right? Can't see from all the smoke. They're not drowning. That's really weird. Oh, there we go. Okay. Right, yeah. Okay, there you go. Oh, there was 3 in there? Was there? What? Wait, did they just spawn another husk? No, they didn't. There was 3 in there the whole time. I never knew. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, so if you spawn zombies in water, they will still turn into drowned, and if you have this wonderful effect on that makes them steam up the water around them and, you know, turn it into air blocks like that, then they will actually create steam underwater, but not be able to clear the water because there's too much of it, and then eventually they will turn into drowned as well. So if we turn the setting off, by just doing super hot zombies once again, you'll see that the smoke particles are no longer going to be created by the zombies, and they'll just be stuck down there doing absolutely nothing but dying. And once again, if I put them up here, he's no longer going to be able to clear the water around him. There we go. Now they're converting. Oh, so I guess the Husk did turn into a drowned. It makes sense that they turn into a drowned. I don't know. But yeah, it's also worth noting that that effect with the super hot zombies affects both zombies, husks, and also zombie villagers as well. Now, the third and final option that I wanted to show you, besides performance mode, super hot zombies, is volatile creepers. So if I was to do the same function, but volatile creepers, this one is really, really interesting. I'm going to quickly just turn off the super hot zombies if it's still on. Is it not still on? No, it's not still on. Perfect. Okay, so volatile creepers. This is a weird one. So every time a creeper has been within 12 blocks of a player, it will get this weird black, really like heavy particle effect that again can be turned off by performance mode. It will get this really heavy particle effect all around it like that, which will mean that it's volatile. Now, volatile creepers will semi-randomly, no, they will completely randomly explode. I forget what functions are completely random and what are fake random, but yeah, this is actually a real random feature. So there you go. And of course, creepers will actually leave behind a blindness effect as well when they explode. So any creeper that has been within 12 blocks of a player, when volatile creepers is on, will get this horrible black particle effect all around them and then will randomly explode. Now, the scoreboard that's checking whether they explode is from 1 to 1,000. So it's pulsing 1 to 1,000 every single game tick. And if it hits either 250, 500, or 750, then one creeper in the world that has the tag that makes it volatile will randomly explode. So if I spawn a load of these, you'll see they actually will explode more often, but it will only ever be one at a time. So we're hardly going to get like loads of them going volatile at the same time. It will only ever be one at a time. And we have so many of them, hopefully one of them will explode by now, but yeah. Can one of you explode, please? Just to showcase the feature? Please? No? Please? Explode, please? I've never wanted a creeper to explode more. Can one of you just do your thing, please? It's very random. So sometimes it will happen instantly. Sometimes it will happen like this. So yeah, it is truly a random feature. There we go. There's one. Off he went. All good. I guarantee they'll all go like one by one now as I'm speaking. But yeah. So you can turn volatile creepers off by simply doing the tag once again. Any creepers that are still tagged with the volatile tag will remain volatile, but no new ones will actually be made volatile once you've turned it off. So there you go. So if you want to make things even more difficult than they already are, you have the option to make zombies terrifyingly fast in water, and you also have the option to make creepers spontaneously explode. So if people are going to try and hide in their fortresses or their little houses or even like a dirt hut, then there is a chance that a creeper chasing them might just randomly explode. So yeah, you can turn these features on to make your Bloodmoon even more difficult. But yeah, because they're sort of like weird features, obviously with the zombies clearing the water around them and creating loads of particle effects, and because the creepers are sort of, well, really, really odd that they can just randomly destroy things, I've made it so that these features are off by default. But you always have the option to turn them on by doing functions, Skaliber, better sleeping settings, and then choosing the appropriate setting. So the next feature that I wanted to show you before we do go to what happens at the end of the Bloodmoon is something that happens in the middle of the night called the witching hour. Now, in common folklore, the witching hour is actually, well, 2 hours, which is rather confusing, but it's 2 hours during the middle of the night where witch's power is supposed to be at its highest. And those that will, well, it's really annoying to say, but the witching hour happens to be between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. So that gets translated perfectly into the game as well. At the time 20,000, which is 2 a.m., to 22,000, it will become permanent thunder, which is really, really interesting. Now, on top of the permanent thunder, you will also find that a third of creepers randomly summon lightning to their location when they spawn. So during the witching hour, you will see a lot of lightning, and you will encounter a lot of powered creepers. So if you're the kind of person who wants to use powered creepers to get heads from skeletons or zombies to make banners or whatever, then the witching hour is actually really beneficial because you can use it to farm powered creepers, as long as you can survive the onslaught of mobs that are going to be constantly coming at you. So I'm gonna wind on the time a little bit here so that we get to the witching hour. So I've got my debug menu on the side so I can see what time it is. You can see time is just equal to the value of time. So if I do time add, and it's currently 15,150, so if I do 4,820, that's going to bring us to 9,990, and when we hit 20,000, it's going to start thundering. There we go, perfect. So yeah, it's going to get very loud, yeah. You will get a lot of thunder during the witching hour. It can be a bit annoying, to be completely honest. Like, if you're the kind of person who doesn't usually like thunder, then this maybe isn't the best thing for you. But again, it's only going to be for about 10-15 minutes if you're playing with this data pack, if you haven't changed the default settings, obviously. And it's obviously an opportunity to get more powered creepers if that's something that you're interested in farming as well. So every time a creeper spawns, he will run a random scoreboard check to find out if he's going to have the 1 in 3rd chance of summoning lightning to his location. So a lot of the time here when I'm flying around, if you're seeing lightning striking, that was definitely one. It was too close together. But yeah, lightning will strike at the location of where a creeper spawns. I can't see the creeper. It does happen. Let me just try and find one now. We'll be able to see one shortly. The more I move around, the more lightning will show, because obviously when I move into new terrain, creepers are going to spawn. That was definitely one. Creepers are going to spawn, and they will be given powered effect. So there he is. Yes, that is going to be a powered creeper. The power effect on the creepers is intentionally very, very lightweight, and it almost looks a bit like blood circling around them as well. And that is intentional. If you see a creeper and a regular creeper next to each other, then they look very, very similar. So you might just get surprised with the huge blast radius that's still going to explode very quickly if you trigger these guys. So yeah, I'm going to spawn a few creepers here and see how kind of often we do get a lot of lightning strikes, trust me. But yeah, I'm going to spawn some creepers here and see how often we get lightning. So there's one. Instantly, there you go. So, lightning creeper. Lightning creepers will be instantly given fire resistance as well, so that they don't immediately die from the lightning. So powered creepers actually survive the lightning 100% of the time, basically. They won't actually take any damage from it. Because in vanilla Minecraft, they usually just die from the fire. But there's a standard one. There's a standard one. There's a lightning one. And to prove that it's not on a scoreboard loop and it is actually genuinely random, there's a random one. Random. 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 Come on, we should be getting a lightning one sooner or later. Random. Random. Lightning, there we go. So there is a 3rd chance that they will spawn and lightning strike their location at the same time. But yeah, because it's random, it can sometimes feel a lot more... Yeah, there you go. Because it's random, it can sometimes feel a lot more like it's not happening that much. But trust me, it is exactly a 3rd chance that a creeper will summon lightning to his location when he first spawns in. Now, as I mentioned, the witching hour will actually finish when the time hits 4 AM or 22,000 in-game time, so it should clear up any second now. There we go. We'll take a second to clear apparently because the rain's quite heavy. But there we go. We can see the blood moon in the sky. It's starting to head closer and closer to the horizon. But the reason why I really like the witching hour as well is because when your witching hour finishes, you know for a fact that there's only 1 hour left where mobs are blood moon mobs. So if you finish the witching hour, it's kind of like a yes, you know, you're almost there, you've almost finished. And if you've not died by this point, you've got a lot of XP coming your way very, very soon. It looks like we're going to have a lot of forest fires when the witching hour happens as well. But that's fine, you know, it's a part of the dynamic surroundings. There you go. No, that's the name of a data pack I'm making. Shit, never mind. But yeah. So anyway, during the last hour of the blood moon, everything will go back to normal. Creepers will not spawn lightning to their location. Zombies will be equally as terrifying and speedy. Usually, again, you would see a lot more zombies than this, but because there's no survival player on the ground fighting them, it's just kind of the regular spawning numbers right now, which turns out to not be that many, especially if it's on day 1, which it currently is. But yeah, there's a skeleton. He's just chilling. He's all good. But yeah, I just love the texture of the mobs, honestly. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Anyway, the only thing left to show you is what happens when it goes back to the morning. So to actually showcase this, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spawn some mobs in here that we can look at when they turn back to normal. And we're going to see how those guys react. So first of all, They're all on a mission, apparently. Okay. Where are they going? I feel like they all go to the well. They just keep going to the well. Like, is there a villager down here? No, obviously not. Why would they keep going to the well? That guy's found one, I guess. Is there a guy in here? Yeah, there is. There's a guy in here. Break the door down, buddy. You've got the... No, he doesn't want to. Okay, never mind. But yeah, it's also worth noting as well that zombies can actually break torches during a blood moon as well, which is designed to just mean that they can get more mobs spawning around them. If I was to place a torch on the floor here, like so, you can see that if a zombie walks within a few blocks of it, then it will break, and it will actually spawn the torch as an item at their location, so you can go and collect it and place it down again if you really want to. And it will also play the torch breaking sound. So there you go. So if a zombie walks over a torch, you can actually see them doing it themselves there, then it will actually break the torch, drop the torch as an item, and play a sound that represents the torch being broken as well. Just going to see if I can get some more zombies here. They seem to want to go in weird places. Let me just see if I can get one to run over a torch. There you go. So yeah, so if they walk within one block of a torch, then they will break the torch, meaning that more mobs can spawn, I guess. It's just supposed to be a scary little... Where are they all running? They're all like running around frantically, but there's no villagers about, dudes. You're not getting anyone. You're all very strange. Okay, so now if I was going to go scoreboard... no, not scoreboard. Time add to... No, time add to time. That sounds like the start of a cheesy 80s song. Time add and then 580. We're going to be nearing the end of the blood moon here, so we'll see the effects when they turn back. They will summon a cloud of smoke around their location and get a bunch of XP. If I was now go to game mode survival, blood moon... kills. We'll also see that when the time advances to a certain part, we're actually going to start retrieving our kills as XP. So during the middle of recordings there, I actually added 600 points to my XP, and you can see that we're now going to start receiving a... Go away. We're now going to start receiving a lot of XP based on our kills as well. So it's just going up still going up, still going up, and you'll see every time we hit 100 XP, we're going to receive a big boost as well. So... boost there from the XP bottles, still going up. Another boost from the XP bottles, all looking very nice. And then we finish, and our blood moon kills count all the way down to 0. And then eventually, after time proceeds a little bit longer, and the moon fully sets and the sun fully rises, the scoreboard will actually reset so that you'll no longer be able to see the kill count on the side of the screen. So basically what I've tried to do is make the blood moon as much of like kind of a boss event as I could do. I'm going to quickly just go into creative mode so I can get out of the volume, because I forget how loud these guys are when they're not silenced. But yeah, so what I've tried to do is make the blood moon like a proper kind of event, like a boss fight almost, where during the event, you have to fight off zombies and you can survive, and every time you die you get a penalty, and you can configure the penalty with settings, and obviously at the end you get a huge amount of XP, but only if you manage to survive and get a load of kills. So if you hid away in your little house and got no kills, you won't get much XP. If you died loads, then your XP is going to constantly be divided and you're going to not get that much. But if you went out into the world and you survived and you got loads of kills, then you will be rewarded for it. It is truly difficult to get to a high level of kills like that where you get a ridiculous amount of XP unless you have really, really good tools. So like full diamond armor, fully enchanted, perfectly enchanted sword and bow, trident, whatever else. It's really difficult to get a high number of kills, and that's kind of what I was going for. So if you can survive the blood moon and you can get loads of kills and you can survive all the way to the morning, then you will be rewarded heavily with a very large amount of XP. Now, before I do finish up with the video here, I think it is also worth mentioning how this actually works. Every time the kind of time advances or is skipped by the player sleeping in a bed, the game will run a random check, 1 in 25 chance of whether or not it's going to run a lunar event. And yeah, the lunar event is the blood moon. So when the day first starts out at time 0, the randomizer gets ran, and then if the randomizer is successful, then next time the sun sets and the moon rises, you'll get the blood moon music. Just gonna clear the weather. You'll get the blood moon music. You'll get all the nice effects from the blood moon. Like the affected mobs and the kill count scoreboard and the kills and the custom sounds and the XP and the thunder at 2 AM. Everything that you would expect usually will happen, but only if the blood moon is rising. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think I went over everything. This is one of the most complex things I've ever made. Obviously, SBS to start with was already my biggest data pack. It's now more than double the size with how many function files I have. So yeah, it's taken me a lot of work to get this one working perfectly, but I am so pleased with it. The idea originally came from when Optifine added the ability to change a mob's skin based on the moon phase and the time of day. And at that point, I was like, oh, great, I'm going to have one of my 8 moon phases be a blood moon, how the mobs look really scary. And then someone in my Discord recommended, well, why don't you make them stronger with a data pack? And then I was like, well, I could. There is a way I could make that happen. So I made it happen, and here we are. And now we have the terrifying event type thing where the Blood Moon makes mobs super strong and gives you the opportunity to get loads of nice juicy XP rewards as well. So yeah, thumbs up for juice, by the way, if you know what that means. I don't know. It's getting bad at this point, really, isn't it? But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Blood Moon showcase. Hopefully you will have a play around with this one and give me any feedback if it's too difficult or too easy or just good. Then yeah, feel free to join the Discord if you enjoyed the pack. Then feel free to discuss it with me and the guys there. We're all very passionate about the resource pack and data pack tutorial type stuff. So yeah, if you want to come and join the Discord and get advice on how to do any Optifine stuff or data pack stuff or just regular, resource pack stuff, then you can absolutely join and have a chat to me or any of the guys as well. So yeah, download in the description as always. I hope you do stay tuned for more future updates coming very, very soon. And I think I have just about covered everything. So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. And until next time, take care and bye-bye.